Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. The Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 103, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zaki Hassan, and with me once again is Brian Hall.
Hey, good morning, Zaki.
Good morning. So this is little peek behind the curtain here. Normally we record the show very, very late because that's usually what ends up working with our schedules. But this week, Brian's busy with Bob's Burgers. I'm not as busy, but Brian's busy anyway. And so we needed to get an episode out, so we're like, why don't we do early morning?
And it's funny because then my Thursday night opened up and I was like, all right, we can do one or the other. What do you think? And then we literally texted each other at the same time. Let's do Thursday morning and see how that works.
That's right.
That was so weird.
So this is unexplored territory.
It's an experiment.
It's movie film before dark.
Yeah. It's kind of nice talking to you with natural light behind me.
Yeah, it's remember Baywatch nights?
Yes. Yeah.
This is movie film days.
They should do SpongeBob nights.
I would pay to watch that.
I would totally pay to watch SpongeBob nights.
I think now that we've said it, now that it's in the ether, one can only hope.
Yeah, do it, Nickelodeon. He solves crimes and plays in a jazz band
and fights aliens and monsters.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
And by the way, folks, Baywatch Nights was a real thing.
Yeah.
You might not be aware of this. So it was a spin-off of Baywatch where David Hasselhoff was like, clearly, Baywatch is the number one show in the world. Clearly what people need is more Hasselhoff.
Right.
And so it's a show that's not about scantily clad women running on the beach. It's about David Hasselhoff solving crimes in the first season because he moonlights as a private eye at night.
Right, the lifeguard.
And then in the first season didn't do that well. This is true. So the second season, they're like, you know what? We need, what this show needs more of? And somebody was like, what, Pam Anderson? No. Monsters and aliens.
Actually, I didn't get the reference because I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's true. So the second season of the show is Mitch Buchanan from Baywatch fighting aliens and monsters.
By night. And then going back to the beach and
dealing with Hobie and his school problem. I never watched the show, but
right.
I would watch the opening credits and then I was done.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen an episode.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what's new with you?
Well, I actually went to see a show last night. This band called Ash, and they put out an album called 1977, and it came out 20 years ago. In 1996, and I was super excited because this is one of those bands that I don't really feel like ever caught on the radio, but they played them on college radio, and my brother and I know this album backwards and forwards, and they're from Ireland, so they don't tour the U.S. frequently. So anyway, we went and saw them last night. It was a total blast. We were like singing every lyric, but I can't hear very well right now. I hear this really high-pitched ringing in my ear. So yeah. But anyway, I know Dan listens, and Federica, who also went with us, listens, and I'm sure they're hearing the same noise right now. So, hi guys.
Well, what else? I mean, other than your concert going, I go to concerts vicariously through you because I think the last concert I went to was with you.
Yeah, Weird Al at the Hollywood Bowl, which was awesome.
It was.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this, too. Usually I do this at the end, but I'll throw out this pitch. The reason I'm so busy this week is because Bob's Burgers has its season premiere this Sunday, September 25th. And I got to say, I mean, as someone who works on the show and is, obviously biased, I've watched this episode 5 times, I believe, in the past 3 days. I've mixed it, onlined it, laid it back, and every single time I've enjoyed it. So I think people who are fans of the show are going to love it, and I think people who don't know the show will find something that pulls them in. So I'll just throw that little pitch out there right now. So
awesome, and that's this coming Sunday.
September 25th, 7:30 Pacific.
Wow, okay.
6:30 Central. So yeah, how about yourself?
I'm sort of in this pit of all of my classes having started, and then deadlines. I've got like 5 different writing deadlines that I'm trying to meet, and it's all good. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like I'm complaining, but it definitely keeps you busy. And then just all the usual stuff with the children, with the kiddies.
Yeah, nice.
this is away time. This is my me time.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because I wasn't actually able to see some of the movies that you wanted to discuss this week, so I'm always impressed that you still are able to get them in.
Well, it's, again, I think I've said this before on the show, but it involves a lot of horse trading with the wife.
Sure.
So it'll be a lot of like, okay, if I can get away for this many hours and do this, then I'll owe, like, give me a Tuesday night and I'll give you a Saturday afternoon and, a Michael Jordan rookie card, and like it's a lot of that.
That's you're gonna have to verse me in that.
Yeah,
so for future use.
It's definitely. Honestly, all I really like, my free time when I'm just trying to get away is pretty much just, I watch movies.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of vices, which I guess is helpful.
Well, yeah, that works out perfectly for you and for the listeners.
It's true. Yeah, I right now I'm the main thing I'm dealing with right now is the fact that love is dead.
Why did you say that?
Because Brangelina is over.
Oh yeah.
And I just can't. To quote internet vernacular, I just can't.
You know what's funny is I worked on a film called, we'll get to this a little bit later, but I worked on a film called Lucky You.
Yes.
And they actually got together during that film. So this was like 2005, I want to say.
I thought it was Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Well, okay, so I worked on Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I was actually bypassing maybe the biggest part of the story. I worked on Mr. and Mrs. Smith where Brad and Angelina met each other, and he eventually left Jennifer Aniston and went to be with Angelina, which we all knew working on the film, and we were like, is this happening?
You knew it in the sense that they were very chummy with each other?
Yeah, before it was ever like a public thing or whatnot.
Gotcha.
So anyway, I knew that, and I left the movie and then went on to another movie, and then it became public news. And I remember it was really funny because I was just in an office with some people, and I literally remember it was almost like I imagine how news spread in 1934. It was like someone came into the office and was like, "Did you hear Brad and Angelina are together?" And Jennifer Aniston is out. And I remember thinking it was so funny that, I don't know, we're just like working at an office, and that is like what people are running around into each other's offices saying. Anyway, so then now when this happened just this past week, it was like the same sort of thing. I was like going to different meetings and whatnot. It's like, did you hear about Brad and Angelina? It was just so weird to have it happen again. But unfortunately, I guess the tail end of that.
See, and it's funny because, you and I are a little bit older, so I don't think either of us, this is like a huge shock, I guess. You know what I mean? Well, it's just like, okay, well, whatever, right? That was my reaction. I'm assuming that was your reaction, too.
I think a little bit of that, but at the same time, it seemed like they were all in, right? They've got like a village that they're raising these days. Literally like 6 kids or something like that. And it's like, so it seemed like if you're going to do that, I don't know. It just seemed like there must be something there. But then again, who knows? And it's like, I don't want to judge people's lives and decisions and whatnot. But it did come as maybe a little bit more of a surprise to me than, say, that girl from Big Bang getting married and then 6 months later getting divorced or something like that.
Sure. See, I think I'm at, after Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, what is there left to believe?
Sure.
I still haven't gotten over that.
Yeah. I don't know if Nicole Kidman has either.
Well, she and Jennifer Aniston can start a support group.
Yeah.
It's just funny because this is literally the cover, the front page of the New York Post was, the headline was Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie get divorced, and it was a big picture of Jennifer Aniston smiling.
I gotta say, obviously that's what's gonna happen, and what
I'm
everyone's
like,
gonna be
wow.
posting and whatnot. Yeah, but to me, that's just kind of like, oh man, can we just leave her alone?
Seriously,
can you imagine
that was
being
my
her? That's like
she's moved on.
defined so many years of her life in the public eye.
Oh,
totally. What a really, really annoying thing.
More than 12 years at this point. She has, I'm assuming, moved on.
Right.
She can't escape it. But anyway, so there's our thought on Hollywood divorces. So
yeah. And that closes our segment, movie film Meow.
Our new segment, yeah. All right, so real quick before we talk about headlines, we do have a new review up. So under listener letters, let's go ahead and share this review. This is from X Mirage KX.
All right.
Which sounds like a sex jelly. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, So besides the fact that they are totally wrong about Star Trek Beyond being a decent movie,
Hey.
I love hearing Zaki and Brian's perspective on movies and pop culture. We're not wrong, by the way. Anyway, I wait with bated breath every week for my dose of Bracky, their newly dubbed celeb couple name. Keep it up, you two. And I was like, the Brangelina is gone. Maybe it's time for Bracky.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Step aside, Brangelina.
when the show ends, it'll be our Brexit.
Okay. That's
okay, I'm sorry. But no, seriously, that was really nice review. Those always mean a lot. So
See,
that's really nice.
I got to disagree, Brian.
Oh.
Because we're not wrong about Star Trek Beyond, and if you think we're wrong, maybe we don't want you listening to us.
I am surprised that so many people didn't like it. I mean, it's not like I'm getting one or two or even three people saying it. Like that's seems to be a very solid 50-50 opinion out there. So who knows?
Yeah, bunch of wrong people. They don't know what's good for them.
We'll show them. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so moving on to some headlines. Just to start things off, a little bit of sad news. Unfortunately, director Curtis Hanson just passed away a couple days ago. Mm-hmm. And man, I was so bummed out. First of all, 2016, what is happening this year?
I know. It is sad, and he's been sick for some time, actually. He had Alzheimer's.
Yes.
And so he had kind of backed out of the public eye, and he didn't even finish his last film, Chasing Mavericks. It was taken over by another director halfway through, and just really sad. And then I guess it officially, right, they said it was a heart attack?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I worked with him on the movie Lucky You.
That's right.
And, I mean, we should also say that he's the director of L.A. Confidential, certainly most...
One of my all-time favorite movies, L.A. Confidential.
Yeah.
I watch it twice a year.
Oh, wow. And
I screen it in my classes, yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and then he also did 8 Mile, Wonder Boys, In Her Shoes. And and then The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, I guess, is probably the one that maybe kind of kicked it off, kicked him into high gear. But I was going to tell just a quick little story because I was a office PA, which is about as low as you can get, on a film crew. And one night while we were doing Lucky You... So the thing is when you're doing that, you work with your office, but you don't really talk to the movie stars, and the director, I'm sure, doesn't know who you are and probably doesn't talk to you. And just because you don't bump into each other super often. So anyway, one night it was getting a little late and I was getting ready to leave, and I saw Curtis walking to his office, and he goes, "Hey." And I was like, "Hi," which is, again, kind of unusual. And he goes, "Hey, we're screening In Her Shoes tonight," because he had just finished it. And he's like, "Are you going?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was happening." He goes, yeah. He's like, "There's pizza over in this place, and then they're showing the movie over here. You should go."
Wow.
And I mean, that I've never before or since had a director do something like that. I mean, that's
amazing.
That's a nice guy. And that always stuck with me. So whenever I think of Curtis Hanson, I always he had a very friendly face, very sweet guy, and I always remember that. So yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, I've long said that if L.A. Confidential had been released any other year but the same year as Titanic, it would have been Best Picture winner that year.
Sure, yeah.
I like I said, I watch that movie all the time. I mean, there's just so much to love about it.
I have to pop that in again. It's been a couple years.
And in honor of Curtis Hanson, you should give it a review.
Yeah.
Other headlines, and this is a left turn from that, but I just thought this was interesting. There's this movie coming out called Monster Trucks.
Yeah.
Have you seen the trailer for this?
Yes.
So it stars Lucas Till, who is the new MacGyver, and he's also Havoc in the X-Men movies. And I saw the trailer, and I was, it's one of those things where you watch the trailer, you're like, this movie is already a flop.
Right. Which, do you want to describe it?
It's
it's so funny.
I'm trying to describe it. It's like it's you know what it's like? It's like they came up with the title first.
Yes,
and then,
I was just gonna say that. Like, it was. Remember on The Simpsons when they were trying to put together show, those executives putting together a show, and they're like, police, cops, like just taking two words and cramming them together, and then they have a show. That's exactly what this movie is. So
Lucas Till plays this teenager who finds a space alien,
right?
I think,
or a monster,
or some kind of. This is work. This is turning into work. Anyway, so there's this monster. It's like a gooey octopus-like thing, and he's trying to hide it from the authorities, and it ends up like living under a truck, and it takes over the truck.
Yeah.
So the truck gets like superpowers.
Right. Monster truck.
And it becomes a monster. Okay. Yeah. So.
And then the government wants it because the government wants everything.
Of course. It's like E.T., Brian.
It's kind of hard to watch movies with the government chasing after aliens and this and that, whatever, and it just not to feel derivative of E.T.
Right, exactly.
Like they basically either, I don't know if they invented it, but they definitely closed the book on that one.
Brian, Elliot just had a friggin' bike, okay?
Yeah.
This kid has a truck.
Oh, I didn't even think of it. It's the same thing where E.T. made Elliot's bike fly. It gave the thing that he had extra ability, and that's exactly what this is.
There you go.
Oh, jeez.
So somebody at Paramount has been drunk over the past year and a half, greenlighting movies like it's going out of style. That's the only explanation I have. They greenlit this thing for $115 million.
Oh, that
To
hurts.
which I say, give me what you're drinking, because it must be amazing.
Dude, I mean, Pete's Dragon, what was that? Like 60 million or 65? Or, I mean,
exactly. And that had Robert Redford in it.
Yeah.
This has new MacGyver. Not old MacGyver, new MacGyver.
Yeah. This should have been like a 60, 70 thing.
Anyway, so
115.
the point of this story. So this was supposed to come out May of 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So last year. And it's been kicked down the curb, and now they've shunted it to sometime in early 2017. But here's the interesting thing. Paramount, which, by the way, has not had a good year, they put out their, expectations, their expected earnings over the next quarter, and they've already in advance said we're anticipating a $115 million loss on a movie. They didn't say which. And then essentially some of these entertainment journalists did some digging, and they found out that it's this monster trucks thing that they just sort of shoved into the corner. And they're already anticipating 115. And I'm like, if you can anticipate the loss like 4 months before it comes out, why don't you anticipate it 4 months before you start filming?
You gotta wonder, and this is one of those things where I know some people are going to be like, duh, Brian. But like, I am learning in the past year or two or whatever that, I mean, so many decisions are made based on like, not just research, but like metrics, like formulas. And I guess I didn't realize to the degree. And they're like, well, this person times this thing times this date times this thing equals this much money. This is what we will make. So obviously, somehow this monster trucks thing had some sort of formula attached to it that made them think $115 million was a good idea.
Yeah.
But I don't know who has to answer to that. And like, I wonder what that conversation is like.
That's just nuts.
Yeah. But it's just one of those things. And I'm not saying that's the thing. It's no easy thing to decide what will be a success. I mean, that is I don't want to have to do that. But at the same time, it is sometimes easy to be like, that's a bad idea. And so you got to wonder, like this one from the start.
This is on its face a bad idea.
Yeah.
You know. But I mean, with that in mind, I mean, yeah, that's Paramount. Warner Brothers, obviously, we've talked about their issues with the DC Comics expanded universe.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting how candid and vocal they are being about admitting, like, well, hey, we got some work to do.
Well, essentially, all that needed to happen was they put Zack Snyder on a plane to Siberia. Mm-hmm. He's in some dungeon somewhere.
He's wearing like a Hawaiian shirt and a lei. He's like, yeah, they said I'm going to Hawaii. and then the stairs come down on the plane, and there's all this snow and like a guy in a huge furry coat, and he's like, oh,
you will get on plane.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
And M. Night Shyamalan is there, and he's like, hi.
Did you see the trailer for Shyamalan's new movie, by the way?
I did.
That looks, I don't know. I mean, it looks messed up.
It looks, content-wise, it does look kind of twisted.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I was like, I'm saying it, man. He's a good director. He's got another good one in him. I really believe it. So I
honestly, and I wasn't even being glib. I think this looks like the kind of movie that will probably be a hit for him.
Yeah. This is the stuff he needs to be doing, like low budget, kind of. He's not doing the usual plots that you're going to see in these like horror films where it's like, Purge 12 or whatever. Like he's got his original ideas. He is a gifted visual director. So I hope he keeps making these little things because I enjoyed the last one, whatever the heck that was.
The Visit?
The Visit, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't great, but I did enjoy it for something that was small and original and a little thriller kind of thing.
I think I mentioned before, where that movie lost me was where it had the guy being like, put my poopy diaper on your face.
The exact same thing. I actually thought it was pretty good, and then that just seemed a little like silly.
Yeah. I was like, okay,
yeah,
I don't need that in my head.
Yeah.
Thanks. But anyway, so Zack Snyder feels like kind of persona non grata, even though he is the director of record for Justice League, and I think this is by design. I think that he has basically not so much fallen on the sword, but been pushed on the sword for whatever the perceived failings of Batman v Superman are.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's my sense anyway. But interesting is that we're in terms of shareholder reports, Jeff Bukes, who's the CEO of Time Warner, was talking about these DC expanded universe movies, and he actually said he admitted we do think there's a little room for improvement. We can do a little bit better on the creative.
And isn't that what you want to hear? I always admire that.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've talked about this before too, but when they're like, you know what, we're gonna push this date back, like we want to do a little more work on this, like. That's a good thing.
Yeah, usually when that happens, it's like, oh, this movie's going to be delayed by 6 months. It's immediately whoa,
yeah,
And granted, sometimes that is deserved.
Mm-hmm.
But I say this all the time. I'm like, look, The Force Awakens was delayed by 6 months.
Yeah, the original Star Wars wasn't good, right? And then they brought in Lucas's wife to re-edit. Yeah, and it takes work. Like, not every movie just comes together and is good. So I think it's great when someone can step back and be like, hey, we need to re-examine. That's when, you are more likely to come out with something good. So,
well, I love, I sent this to you. Somebody made a meme where it's like the posters of Iron Man, the first Iron Man, Captain America Civil War, and Guardians of the Galaxy. And they were like, imagine that these were the only movies that were in the MCU. That would be the DC expanded universe.
Right. It's really funny when you think of it that way.
It's totally true. I mean, we've said this before. The MCU has benefited from the slow burn approach.
Yeah.
And they didn't blast the burner up and overcook the thing.
Right.
So it seems like, again, I think you and I are both on the same page where it's like, we want these movies to be good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If nothing else, because it's going to be an investment of our time regardless, because we got to watch this shit. So it'd be nice to actually have it be something worth looking forward to.
Yeah.
But the stuff that we do end up looking forward to is Netflix content these days, it feels like.
Oh man, I just wrapped up season 2 of Narcos. So good.
Didn't that just drop like a day ago?
No, it's been out for, I want to say 2 weeks, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a little more. Man, that show is just good. Like, that's just one of those shows.
I still need to watch the first one.
Yeah, it's not like, the thing you're going to be thinking about for the rest of the year. Sure. But, like, you almost take for granted how good it is. Because I guess when you binge it, it's easy to just digest and be like, that was nice, and then move on to something else. But, like, it's just the fact that it is that captivating, almost seemingly effortlessly. The acting is really fun, and the story, I mean, for something that where it's pointed toward, and it still makes it engaging and draws it out over 10 episodes. I really dug it. So yeah, I mean, Netflix and House of Cards. I know some people have kind of gone in and out of that one too, but like I'm still on board with House of Cards. And
you support President Underwood.
Yeah, yes. Oh, and Stranger Things. I forgot to mention this on our summer recap, but that was my favorite piece of entertainment of the summer. It wasn't even like a movie in theaters. It was Stranger Things on Netflix.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, Netflix seems like they're doing all right.
Yeah. Okay,
but
then.
The story. Do we actually say the headline?
No, we didn't.
We did?
No, we didn't.
Okay. In the next couple of years, they want 50% of their library to be original programming, which is
50%. Wow.
What's that?
50%. I mean, that's a substantial jump up from what is it? It's probably like 5% right now of their, what's available on there.
Which is interesting. That for me makes me think of several things. First of all, it makes me think, well, then what is the other 50% going to be? Like, how much effort are they going to put into that being something worth browsing through?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, it seems like for the most part, I mean, there are some Netflix shows I don't know, but for the most part, they're all water cooler shows. And even something like Bloodline, which I don't watch, I'm at least aware that it exists and people seem to like it. But then it seems like there's now going to be room for much more varied content that I probably won't watch. Something for other people that have different interests in mine, and then there'll be the things for me, and they'll...
What's this? It was like a Baz Luhrmann show, I think, right?
Right, The Get Down?
The Get Down, which is canceled.
Right, it was like super expensive too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're going to have, the more times they swing, the more chances of striking out. Yeah, but in addition to that, there's also, whatchamacallit, there's also Luke Cage dropping in a couple days.
Right. Which I haven't really watched the majority of the Marvel shows. Well, I guess the majority. There's two of them, right? Jessica Jones and Daredevil, which I know I'm getting it from all sorts of people, like how great it is, and I need to do that. But at least they're waiting for me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Luke Cage is getting really good reviews, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. I mean, it seems like the Marvel shows on Netflix are held to the same quality of standard, the standard of quality rather, as the Marvel movies. Yeah.
Again, that's what I hear.
Check out. I think you said you kind of fell out of Daredevil. You gave it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things. I think I had a lot on my plate at the time, even maybe like TV viewing wise, and it was good, but it just, there were other things I was going to first. So when I'm finishing up the stuff I'm finishing up, it's nice to know it's there.
Yeah. The second season they brought in the Punisher,
right? Which I see
by
online.
John Bernthal, from The Walking Dead, and now they're giving him his own show now.
Oh wow!
And I just think it's funny because we've had like 3 Punishers before him, right? There's Dolph Lundgren, Thomas Jane, and Ray Stevenson. Mm-hmm. And it's weird how like now the Marvel version, it's like okay, now we have the real Punisher,
right? Which is like what they do best, right?
Yeah, Spider-Man, same thing. Now it's the real Spider-Man.
Right. The definitive version of all their characters.
Yeah, I watched Civil War over the weekend with the kids, and my youngest right now, because there's another one on the way, he's two and a half, and he loves Ant-Man.
Oh, funny.
He loves Ant-Man to the extent that he could see a picture of Paul Rudd, and he'd be like, Ant-Man.
Oh, wow. I was thinking it would be like the costume or something, but even...
No, Paul literally, like he'll see Paul Rudd, and he's like, "Oh, Ant-Man."
Oh, funny.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So we were watching the airport battle scene in that movie, which I could just watch that on loop, like all day.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And so it's the scene where Ant-Man becomes giant, and oh my gosh, you've never seen my kid so excited. Ant-Man big. Ant-Man
so
big. So it's pointing at the screen. It's a lot of fun. And my point is, that's who, like, these movies need to be inclusive of that audience. Because that's the audience that's going to carry these memories with them. I mean, that's what allows it to become a multi-generational thing.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, DC doesn't have to do that. I know a lot of people bring up how dark they are and that they're not for kids, and I don't disagree with that personally. But at the same time, it's like, well, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But it's nice to know that there at least are superhero films for kids at the same time.
And they're not only for kids.
Right, right.
I think Disney is really smart about sort of the 4-quadrant, experience.
Right.
But with that in mind, so Netflix, their road of dominance is continuing. I do want to share a interview I just conducted with director Matt Johnson and producer Matt Williams about the new film Operation Avalanche. Have you heard about this?
I haven't.
So Operation Avalanche is kind of interesting. It's a found footage mockumentary about the secret plan to fake the moon landing.
Okay.
So it's basically
yes.
Oh, you have heard about it?
I did. Yes. I saw this trailer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So pretty clever. It's a clever conceit.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are they're out of Canada, and they essentially made this as a film school thesis.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And what's crazy is that they basically went to NASA and were like, "Hey, we're making a student film. Can we film inside NASA?" And NASA was like, "Sure." And I'm just like, remember when we had that kind of balls, you know?
Yeah,
like
totally.
Because now you look at it, you're like, well, of course I would never do that because I'll get into all kinds of trouble. But I'm like, remember when you were young and you had nothing to lose?
Yeah.
You know? And so they ended up making this thing that has, it's filmed in NASA. Well, you don't get much more credible than that,
Wow.
you know? And I had a fun time chatting with them. They're really fun, gregarious guys. And so here's my interview about Operation Avalanche. So guys, just to start things off, this Blair Witch 2 just came out this week, or Blair Witch 3, I guess, and it kind of brought the found footage conversation back to the forefront. What's your feeling on found footage as far as the approach that you took with this film? Was that always your calculation that this would be a found footage movie, or is that just kind of where you ended up?
No. In fact, believe it or not, we actually think there's a lot of ground left to break using sort of the fake documentary format, and we don't mind the idea that critics and audiences generally are thinking like, oh yeah, found footage, like I've seen this already. Mm-hmm. We actually think that works for us and for a movie like Operation Avalanche because we are film students and we care a lot about authorship and these tools, and we think that there's a lot of ways to use them in a new style. I actually think it's almost criminal how few people are sort of innovating on the form. I haven't seen Wingard's new take on Blair Witch. I've read a little bit about it. We were at TIFF together, mm-hmm. and I hope that they're doing something innovative and new with it. If not, I think that's really sad because, as I said, what Miller and I do when we approach these movies, we've made 2 now in this same fake documentary style, is we really are trying to push the limit of what you can do with a protagonist-driven documentary.
Yeah.
Just because you get to do things, I mean, an obvious example is the car chase in our film.
Yeah.
Like that, you couldn't do that in like a normal Hollywood movie with standard coverage. Like you couldn't recreate those same feelings. And you can say what you will about our success at using that form, but we're definitely trying to innovate within it.
Well, and to that point, I mean, what are some of the limitations that you're encountering? Because as you say, I mean, you're trying to construct a narrative within this documentary frame. So what are the points where you're not so much stymied, but places you have to find a workaround for?
Well, sometimes it's just about justifying why you're shooting what you're shooting, which is something that, in both of these movies, why would a camera follow a kid into a school during a school shooting, or why is a camera, that's being shot at out the back window, not taking cover, but trying to continue to film it. And so that was sort of important to us to figure out a justification for that, which in the case of Operation Avalanche is that this film is going to be the thing that sort of helps Matt get out of trouble in the end. But at the same time, we also feel like spending too much time. If the audience is thinking about those things in those moments, then we're probably not doing our job in other areas. So I think it's about striking the balance of being able to address those issues head on, but also making sure that the film itself isn't relying on those things.
And on top of that, you got to think that, I mean, we're pretending that we're making documentaries, so we're working in a very, very, very well-established documentary form. And one of the biggest challenges there is, I mean, Hollywood narrative stories just do not happen in the real world. So we're stretching credibility to the limit by trying to put such a, I would say, dramatic and almost cliched story inside of a documentary. So, of course, we rally against that, and that's one of the huge, huge challenges we face. But again, I think that is just growing pains with the format. Like, we're basically trying to figure out what you can and can't credibly do in this space.
Is this something that you want to? Is this a storytelling area you want to remain in as far as the mock documentary, or would you like to branch out to doing standard narrative movies?
Well, right now we're making another a sort of fake documentary television series with Spike Jonze in Toronto that we'll be making for at least the next year. And so we really like that form, at least right now. But we know already that our next film is being done in a standard narrative way. We're not going to make a fake documentary for our next big feature. We don't think. That's not to say we won't revisit it. Because, as I said, we think it's criminal that people aren't innovating in this form.
Yeah.
Since it's literally made for young people. Like the idea that there aren't like a whole bevy of other filmmakers doing this exact same thing, we think is crazy. But we didn't go to film school thinking that we were going to make movies like this. So we're not going to continue making them forever. That's for sure.
You know, it's interesting because when we think about it, the day and age we live in now, with everyone having a portable camera, the notion of there being enough footage for a quote unquote found footage movie to exist makes more sense. So I feel like you guys set a bar for yourself where it's like it's set during an era where the existence of this footage would be much more of a challenge to, as you said, justify.
Yeah, but also, I mean, a very exciting era for, the evolution of the modern documentary. The 60s was really, I think, the tipping point for what documentary was and what it became, and the verite movement and the films of Mails Brothers and things like that. And because we're such big cinephiles and we really love all those films, that was, a big part of the excitement of making this movie was not only getting to dive into the NASA history and the history of the moon landing, but also the history of cinema and filmmaking. And I mean, it even goes back to Méliès and Trip to the Moon and all those kinds of things. So hopefully, people will get that when they watch the film.
But you're right. You bring up a great point, which is just that the artifactness of this movie is almost challenging because that is rare. There were no films made in this style in the 1960s, right? I mean, just that language didn't exist.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were, but not like this. And so the fact that this is a very one-of-a-kind, it almost seems like it exists at a time, and yet it is still very married to the era, I think is an exciting piece of it. The fact that Matt makes it, Matt buries it, and now we're watching it now, it has a certain kind of magic to it that I think only comes from the fact that it is as old as it is.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I was reading up on how you basically you told NASA you were making a student film and you were able to get in and get access that you wouldn't have dreamed of. I mean, is that basically true?
It's 100% true, and it's not that we didn't lie and say we were making a student film. This is a student film. It's my master's thesis from the university that Miller and I go to in Toronto.
Oh, no kidding. See, I was gonna I was initially gonna ask, how does one get the balls to do that? But I'm more like, how does one even think of doing that? Like, as a student, when I went to film school, it never would have occurred to me to reach out to NASA. I mean, I have to give you guys props for just thinking of doing that. The initiative of that.
It came out of necessity. I mean, imagine if you were told you had to make a movie about NASA in the 1960s and you had no money. Like, what would you do?
Well, I mean, it's extraordinary because I think what that's what gives it the veracity. I mean, we buy the illusion of the film because you are there.
Exactly.
So at what point did the kernel of this story morph into a feature, or were you always thinking in those terms? Was this always, we should do this as a feature, or was it, hey, that'd be kind of cool, and then suddenly you're like, hey, we can turn this into a movie?
No, we knew right away. It was this. Miller and I were on the plane going home from Park City, where we just played The Dirties for the first time, and I think it was me who had said, oh, what about faking the moon landing? And the second I said it, we knew. Like, we just knew. It's like when you're reminded of a dream and you instantly remember every single detail of the dream that you had never thought of once before. We knew the whole movie.
Now, this is obviously a conspiracy that's been out in the fringes forever, where you have X number of people who don't believe we landed on the moon. And I was wondering if, having this film is sort of in many ways it's a synthesis of a lot of those conspiracies. What have you learned about where those conspiracies come from? Like, why do people still not believe, or some people not believe, that we landed on the moon?
I think it comes from, and we talk about this a lot, as you can imagine, because we're asked about this. And I'll tell you, the closest that we can reason is that there is a real American, almost cowboy ideology in thinking that the individual citizen knows more than the government and will not be fooled by institutions. That seems to be built into the DNA of many Americans, and I think that's actually a really good trait. But I think at its far ends, it leads to this type of "they're not going to get one over on me" thinking. And I think that we've screened the film at many film festivals, and oftentimes there's one or two members of the audience at the end who really do believe this and believe it very seriously. And they all share a very similar quality, and that quality is they're often older, and they are often men, and they're often sort of in the sciences at some level. And there seems to be I know better than most people.
Wow.
And which, again, can lead to a lot of great things. It's good to be skeptical, and it's really good to be skeptical of people in power. But what's funny is that in this case, and this is what I like to say, but it never goes over well, in this case, let's say that the moon landing was fake, and that, yeah, sure, NASA and the government, whoever did fool everybody. Who cares? Who cares? Like, these guys, there are so many other real conspiracies going on with real powerful institutions that are actually affecting the livelihoods of millions and billions of people that are much more serious, that are open secrets that everybody knows about,
right,
about the influence of power in this world. I wonder why people are spending so much energy and thinking that this one is still important, because, again, even if they're right, it doesn't matter. So I don't know. I think it's an exercise in futility, but it sure is a great story.
Well, and I think it makes certainly for a compelling alternate reality that we get to experience through your film.
Thank you. Yeah, we felt the exact same way.
Well, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I really appreciated it.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great talking.
All right, so that's that, and Operation Avalanche is in limited release right now, but check it out. You can find it.
Did they get anyone to play Stanley Kubrick?
Well, but they mentioned the Kubrick thing in there, so that's actually pretty funny. Nice. Yeah, this is sort of a synthesis of many of the different conspiracies that are already out there by crazy people. There's people who actually believe that we didn't land on the moon.
Right. And the Stanley Kubrick, what I'm referencing is some people believe that Stanley Kubrick, because his effects were so convincing in 2001, they believe that he was contracted to fake the moon landing. Yeah,
by stupid people. People who believe that. Right. I got a couple trailers, and hey, Brian, they just dropped this morning, mere hours ago, the teaser for the trailer to Ghost in the Shell.
Dude, I know. I've heard so much about this movie. I'm really interested in it. I pulled up the page. Did you watch it?
I did not.
Neither did I. Why not?
Because it's like 5-10 second videos.
Yeah, and Zaki and I pulled it up, and we're like, no.
Both of us at the same time were like, yeah, we're not dancing. We're not dancing to your drum.
We were like, I thought it was gonna be like a minute 30, and we're like, hey, before the show, let's watch this and we can talk about it. And we saw it was 5 11-second trailers, and we're like, no, we're not doing that.
I mean, I'm only mildly interested in this to begin with. Because number one, because it's directed by Rupert Sanders, and he did Snow White and the Huntsman. So to me, that's not like a ringing endorsement of his future output.
Yeah.
But beyond even that, I do have to admit I'm baffled by the decision to cast an Asian character with Scarlett Johansson. I really don't understand that.
Right. I mean, that's as far as I know about it. I haven't even seen the original, so I don't know the story. I don't know anything about it, to be honest. But yes, that alone is just one of those things that you just hope that Hollywood finally turns around on.
It's really like, I mean, it's one of those things where I mean, I get it from a dollars and cents perspective about Scarlett Johansson is a draw, but I mean, the film itself can be a draw because Ghost in the Shell is not an unknown quantity. I mean, it's been out there in the ether for a long time. I think people know that it's about an Asian character, you know?
Right.
So,
well,
I don't get it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when they drop a real trailer.
There you go. Yeah. So, and the movie's due out in March of next year, by the way.
Okay.
March trailers.
March becoming a thing, huh? You know what I mean?
It's
They
weird.
did the Batman v Superman,
and wasn't Furious 7 in March? End of March, I think.
Yeah, that feels right. That's smart.
Yeah, you got the field wide open, right?
Yeah.
Another early next year movie is Live by Night.
Yes.
This is the new film directed by Ben Affleck. Acclaimed director Ben Affleck. Did you see this trailer?
I did.
Well, let's go ahead and play some of the audio from this.
You don't think I'm strong enough?
I don't know if you're cruel enough.
Powerful men don't have to be cruel. I signed up to fight in the war. I went away a soldier. I came home an outlaw.
We do what we want to do. We'll go where we want to go.
Give us the money.
I don't want to be a gangster. I stopped kissing rings a long time ago.
It no longer matters what you want. You're in this life.
Okay, so, I'm at a point now, and I think a lot of people are, where it's like Ben Affleck directing. Sign me up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even his movies, it's just funny to think that a while back he was kind of like a punchline.
He got kicked around for about 10 years.
Yeah, but then now, I mean, even that film, The Accountant, which is coming out.
Which looks really good.
Yeah, it does look really good. You're like, oh, that looks like a quality adult movie. You know what I mean? Which they don't have too many of those anymore. Like, just like an original story, something that looks a little grown up.
And it's funny that you say that and yet my first reaction is, oh, look, Batman and Commissioner Gordon.
That's funny. But yeah, no, this, I thought this looked really cool. Like, look kind of stylish too.
Stylish, yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of his earlier movies are just sort of this like almost docu-feel, point a camera at some crime happening in Boston movies.
And this is still crime in Boston, by the way.
It is, yeah.
He hasn't strayed too far from his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it kind of, it's pretty impressive, the casts that he's able to get. And I mean, I think we're at a point now where he is that kind of a director. And you're assured a certain level of quality.
Right. I think so.
So yeah, and this, I think they're doing a limited release at the end of the year for potential awards consideration, but the wide release is January.
Yeah. And we haven't even mentioned really what it's about, but it's a crime story, an organized crime story in Prohibition era times, which, I'm always game for something like that.
Yeah. Anytime Ben Affleck wants to do a Boston accent.
Right. But I love like period stuff,
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I agree. It kind of
like
kind of an Untouchables type thing.
Exactly. That's what I was just gonna say, like Untouchables kind of thing. Yeah.
And now we have another period film, although the period is the far future. This is Passengers.
Right.
So this stars Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt. Let's play some of the audio from that.
We boarded the Avalon with a destination. 120 years hibernation means we'll wake up in a new century on a new planet. But a year ago, everything changed.
Hello? Anybody here?
Hello? Do you know what's going on? Nobody else is awake.
I think something went wrong with the hibernation pods. We woke up too soon. 90 years too soon.
This can't be happening. We have to go back to sleep.
We can't.
All right, so this is a film based on the premise, as I understand it, is that there's this colony ship where everybody is hibernating,
right?
And they're going to be woken up hundreds of years later on another planet,
right?
And for whatever reason, Chris Pratt gets woken up out of his sleep thing, and again, it's like 100-year journey on this ship,
right?
And then he finds out that Jennifer Lawrence is also awake. Although here's my prediction. maybe this is a spoiler. I don't know, but if at the end of the trailer he's like, "I need to tell you something." You saw that?
Yes.
So my prediction is that he woke her up.
Right.
Was that your prediction too?
I would guess so. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just kind of went with it. I didn't really think too much.
My guess is he wakes up. He's all alone on this ship.
So I see. So it was no accident. He wanted.
It was no accident.
A companion.
Right, and like a super hot companion.
Right.
You know?
He was like, no.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, when you think about it, again, I know nothing about this movie. I haven't even read about it, but that would make sense in terms of drama.
Yeah.
Because they're forming a connection and and then turns out that she had a choice taken away from her.
Right.
I
gotta say, even just talking about this makes me really interested in this movie. Like, speaking of original movies, right? Like, this is an original story.
I was actually thinking that because I was like, this does not look like a cheap movie to make.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a ballsy move for a studio to basically risk it all on the J-Law Chris Pratt combo platter.
Right.
Being the thing that'll draw people in, because this doesn't look like it has a lot of franchise potential.
Right. But I guess it was written by John Spates.
That's right.
And this has been...
He did Prometheus before it got Lindelofized.
Right. And I've heard about this script has come up, I would say, past 6 years or something like that. I've heard people talk about
it's like a blacklist?
Yeah, this is like something people have been like a fan of for a very long time. And I guess Keanu Reeves was attached to this for the longest time in developing it. So,
well, I can't picture it with Keanu Reeves.
No, I mean, I can and I can't. I mean, if I didn't know what this was and it was just a Keanu Reeves movie, I'd go with it. But, you know, it makes sense having, if, like you were saying, it's sort of a gamble making what looks like such an expensive movie.
Yeah.
That's an original story that has no franchise potential, possibly. But then you throw the two biggest current stars in it. That makes sense.
Well, and I think that's the thing. It's going to be, I think, quite a test for both of them.
Right.
To see if people will turn out.
Yeah.
Great cast, by the way. Andy Garcia's in it. Lawrence Fishburne. Michael Sheen is the Johnny Cab of bartenders.
Yeah, that is what really hooked me, to be honest.
The scene where you see the bartender as a robot.
Yeah, that is just so up my alley. And he kind of malfunctions a little bit. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, something's happening, right?
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to this one.
So this is Morton Tildum, who he did.
Sounds like an anagram.
It does, right? Or like a disease.
You've
got a Tildum. Should I tell my family?
You should have told them.
Can you imagine your doctor saying that to you? And then the doctor like a high five? Huh?
Right.
No? Okay. Yeah, no, you're dying.
Right.
But anyway, this comes out December of this year. It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm actually I don't want to read that much about it, but I'm curious what the studio interference will have been on it to sort of make it more palatable to a mainstream audience.
Yeah, but it's funny because the movies that come out in December usually go for it a little bit more. You know, that's when a lot of the awards movies come out.
Sure.
And you got to wonder if maybe they let this one be a little more challenging than they would something that would come out in July. Does that make sense?
No, it totally does. Yeah.
So.
Interesting. Well, I guess we'll find out. I mean, we will be talking about this in December.
Yeah.
But moving on, Star Wars news. There's always Star Wars news, Ryan, because there's always Star Wars.
Right.
So what's happening?
There will always be Star Wars.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of interesting because we were talking about Rogue One, which is coming up in December, and it was going to be the first Star Wars movie not scored by John Williams. It was going to be Alexander. How do you say his name, actually? I never say it. I always read it.
I think it's Desplat.
Desplat. Okay. Alexandre Desplat?
I assumed it's Alexander, but
Alexander. Apologies to Mr. Desplat.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge fan. I've said it before. Grand Budapest Hotel. Download it. Wonderful. I listen to it at work all the time. Anyway, I was very much looking forward to him scoring Rogue One because he is a very... he doesn't have one sound you can nail down. He's very talented at matching whatever movie that he's doing. So I was really interested to see what he would do with the Star Wars universe. And but apparently he is out, and Michael Giacchino is in for Rogue One, which is interesting for several reasons. First of all, Rogue One seems to be undergoing a bit of a facelift, or I don't want to say an overhaul, but it was a significant percentage of it was reshot a little bit earlier this year, which raised some eyebrows. But as we said, I mean, so was Force Awakens, and that turned out all right. So some people wonder if it has to do with the changing tone of the film. On the other hand, the story, the official story, is that with the shifting schedule, it was something that Desplat couldn't make fit anymore into his slate, which would, that seems believable. Something I thought was interesting was I think most people would agree with me that they thought Giacchino was the natural successor to John Williams.
Yes.
And that he would be scoring saga pictures.
Yes.
So it's kind of interesting with him going on to Rogue One. Would he still be a guy to go to for that, or will he be doing sort of the what do you want to call them? What do you call it? The Star Wars stories?
The Star Wars stories?
Yes, movies
Well,
that come out every other year.
I don't see why it needs to be one or the other.
Right. So he doesn't necessarily have to be exclusive, but at the same time, I wondered because that seems to keep him very busy.
Giacchino. It's not like oh my gosh, they hired Michael Giacchino. It's not that.
Oh no.
I will admit though, I was looking forward to hearing Desplat's take on this universe.
Very much.
And you have to figure that he had been building thematic material for the past several months, so you wonder what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, one of those things too. I'm a big Alan Silvestri guy, particularly his earlier stuff like Back to the Future, Predator, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, all that. And he did a whole score for Pirates of the Caribbean that was scrapped.
That's right.
And it's available online. You can actually find it and listen to it. And so
Good?
What's that?
Is it good?
It is good. I mean, it's very him, sort of that.
Sure.
He has a lot of signature sort of things that he does, and they're definitely sprinkled throughout, which I really enjoyed. And I just wondered, or you would hope that this is something that someday would actually be out there for you to listen to, but who knows if it ever got far enough along for that to happen.
Right. Huh, interesting. Well, and I mean, Michael Giacchino, he's got 3 months to pull this thing. I mean, that's I don't know what the turnaround is on a film score, but that seems like he's got his back to the wall on this one.
Yeah, and what was Tomorrowland?
Yes,
that was whatever you want to say about that movie, like it or not, but that score is a great score.
Yes, I agree with you. You gave that to me, in fact.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. So
I agree with you. Yeah,
I find him to be pretty reliable in terms of delivering on what we say we like about old school soundtracks, which is themes and inventive music playing that actually has a melody to it rather than just sort of atonal sort of mood music.
Yeah.
Which has its place. I get it if that's what people like, but I appreciate that there are still people like Giacchino out there creating interesting film scores.
And I think we were talking about Star Trek at the very top. I think his Star Trek theme is easily as iconic as the one that Jerry Goldsmith came up with and the original theme. I mean, there's so much Star Trek music out there, and for him to come in this many years later and add something sort of definitive to that library, that's pretty impressive too.
Completely agree.
Yeah. Other Star Wars news, Brian?
So it turns out that get this. Star Wars, they're going to
Should I sit down? Should I sit down for this?
Yeah. Do you mind?
Yes, I'm sitting down.
Okay. So Star Wars, they're making Rogue One. They're going to make, 8, 9? Guess what?
Yes.
They announced they're going to make more Star Wars movies after that.
What?
Through past 2020.
No.
I know!
Fie on you.
As a Star Wars fan, I have to say I'm thrilled.
So here's my question, and this has been the question I've asked for a while. Are they going to launch right into another trilogy, or are they going to keep cranking out Star Wars stories for a little while?
Isn't that kind of interesting? Because I will admit, I'm a Star Wars nut, so are you. I don't want to get burnt out on it.
That's how I feel.
I don't feel like there should be one every year. I feel like every other year is a little more palatable. Because otherwise, it's just inevitable you're going to get burnt out on that universe.
Yeah.
And they can't... I mean, who knows? I know they have some huge story team there, but you just hope they can keep up with it. And that's another great question. So they finish up this new trilogy, but they're doing it so quickly. I mean, they used to come out every 3 years. Now they're coming out every other year and throwing a Star Wars movie in between. I mean, do you feel like, okay, we got to chug out another trilogy, saga?
The thing is, if they were to crank out a story movie every year, I wouldn't even be opposed to that.
No.
I would prefer if after episode 9 comes out, they say, all right, the saga is resting.
Right. It can come back, but right now,
yeah,
it's resting.
And give it even 5 years.
Totally. I would love that. And then maybe, bring back, I don't know what the story's going to be, but bring back Rey and Finn as older characters. And,
yeah. I mean, I feel like there's room within these Star Wars stories to be, you've got enough potential mini franchises to keep your whistles wet.
Right.
So give us the Obi-Wan trilogy and the I'm assuming they're going to do several Han Solo movies. There's room for all of that stuff.
Totally.
Since the saga is, it's tricky, right? Because the challenge is trying to get people to understand the difference between the spin-offs and the saga movies.
I've been saying that, and people have been like, "Oh, no." But now I'm starting to see articles where people are tweeting after the new Rogue One stuff dropped, saying like, "Well, wait, did they recast Rey?" Well, actually, my parents said that. Oh. And but I've seen people online and Twitter and whatnot saying like, so wait, where's this character and da 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 da. Like, I think Disney assumed a lot by not differentiating them to begin with. Yeah, it seems like they're just dropping it and expecting everyone to understand.
So that's going to be kind of an interesting challenge, I think, that they need to figure out.
Yeah, I agree. But once everybody gets it, then your work's done.
This will be the test case.
Yeah.
Rogue One, and I think Bob Iger even said this, right? They're not expecting Rogue One to do Force Awakens money,
right? Which is smart for them to say, because I mean, obviously
they want to get out in front of the expectations game,
right?
And it probably won't, but I mean, assuming it's a decent movie, it'll perform. It'll perform.
I'm sure.
And so this is the time. You're never going to have as big an audience as you do right now to make people aware of the difference between the saga movies and the spin-off movies, which is why, by the way, I've said all along, don't do the opening crawl. Like, distinguish this as much as possible from those movies so that they remain special.
Right.
But that is Star Wars news. We do have a bunch of new releases to talk about, and this is kind of interesting because we're going to be talking past each other this time.
Right.
Because you have not seen any of the movies I've seen, and I've not seen any of the movies you've seen.
Right.
So we have nothing to discuss.
So basically, this is a conversation like we would normally have as friends, telling each other about the movie we saw and whether or not we think that the other person should see it.
Well, okay, so Brian, you saw Hell or High Water.
I did.
Which, man, I've heard nothing but good things about this. So does this measure up to the hype?
I would say pretty close.
Okay.
Because this is exactly why I was so intent on seeing this in a theater. I mean, this is one of those movies where normally I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a thing I got to remember because I want to see that eventually. But I mean, the hype on this thing was through the roof. Like I want to say, like Rotten Tomatoes had it at like 98%. Viewer reviews were at like 90%. And I was just eager. This summer was a little weak in terms of big movie output and content wise, we've talked about it. We weren't too crazy about this summer. And I was just ready to see an original story and something that took place on planet Earth where there was no blue beams in the sky, and just, and also it's a bank robbery film. So the IMDb summary says a divorced dad and his ex-con brother resort to a desperate scheme in order to save their family's ranch in West Texas. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that they're robbing banks.
Okay.
So, and then, it stars Chris Pine and Ben Foster as the brothers. And Jeff Bridges plays an aging Texas Ranger who is, on their case. And he's really a sharp guy, sort of Sherlock Holmesy, where he can look at very little details and kind of figure out and anticipate what's going to happen next. And I will start off by saying that, yes, this movie was hyped to the gills. And so when I saw it, I was like, like it was really good, but like I didn't think this was like some sort of like crazy masterpiece that like changed everything, which is like what people were sort of talking about it like. And I it's such a bummer. I feel like I've said this a couple times on here. A lot of times I'll hear this and then, I mean, this has happened maybe like 3 or 4 times in the past year, and then I'll go see it. Even with Inside Out, I remember was another one where people like, yeah, prepare to have your life changed. I'm like,
sure.
Okay. Yeah, and then you're watching the movie.
Done.
Yeah, you're like, well, when's the part where my life is going to change? And then it doesn't. And then I was like, oh. So you have this weird little come down moment. But then I watched Inside Out again a couple months later, and I was like, oh, this movie's really good. But I had it without all that hype, in the back of my mind as I was watching it. So anyway, I would say the same thing with Hell or High Water. Like, try to get all that crazy hype out of your head and just go in and be ready to watch, a good yarn about these 2 guys. And it's told in a deliberately slower pace because it takes place in West Texas, and it's a slower, everyone there moves slower and talks slower. And but what it does really well. The acting is really good. The story is really interesting. Why I really liked it, and I do recommend it, is it's so refreshing to see a movie where you have no clue what's going to happen next. Right? And a lot of times when you watch a movie, particularly something that's a little more commercial, you can kind of anticipate what's going to happen because it has to, right? To please everybody. But this one, just things unfold and that you don't see coming, or things that you maybe could have predicted but you didn't know because the story did a good job of just making everything unpredictable. And it's just a good yarn. So that's the best way I can put it. It's a worthwhile, good, sort of like modern Western. So
see, I think part of the reaction is itself a reaction to the sort of the sameness of summer.
Yes, probably.
I think coming on the heels of like Suicide Squad and sort of week after week of just bombast.
Right.
Here's something a little thoughtful, and and it almost like is so refreshing by being so different.
Yeah, and you can really, the ups and downs that these characters go through, like you really track with it. Like you are really on board with them. And in particular, Ben Foster. I think a lot of people will be talking about Jeff Bridges, especially like award time. But Ben Foster, man, like he just like really delivers on this. He plays this sort of unstable, unpredictable criminal brother. I want to say older brother, I think.
So it sounds like he's playing the same guy he was in 310
to Yuma. Yeah, exactly that. But I mean, he really delivers on that because you really like him and you really feel the brotherly bond. But at the same time, he's kind of unpredictable and you're a little scared of what he may do at all times. Yeah. So yeah, really good.
He's a good actor who. Feel like he doesn't get enough sort of notice.
Yeah, dependable. He delivers.
Yeah, remember he was the Angel in X-Men.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that
in X-Men: The Last Stand, like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's forgotten about it too. So that's what you've seen.
Yeah,
and that's all you've seen.
It is, yeah.
All right, well, let's run down Zaki's list of movies here.
I'm interested in all of these, so I'm really excited to hear what you have to say.
Well, start things off. We have Sully. This is, of course, the feature adaptation of Monsters, Inc. character Sully. James P. Sullivan.
I was just about to make that joke. Nice.
Voiced by John Goodman. No, this is about Chesley Sully Sullenberger, played by Tom Hanks in the film, and it's a depiction of the lead up to and the aftermath of the Miracle on the Hudson, which happened in 2009. You remember that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The plane where both engines suffered bird strikes and failed, and so the captain had to land the plane on the Hudson River. It's an amazing story. No fatalities, no casualties, and it's a good movie. It's directed by Clint Eastwood, and I did not like Clint Eastwood's last biopic, which was American Sniper.
Right.
And so I was I wasn't expecting to dislike this. Because I was just like, it's a story that defies sort of political spin or partisanship, and of course you cast Tom Hanks,
right?
so immediately Yeah, I think I've said this on this show. If Tom Hanks plays you in a movie about you, you have won.
Right, right.
You're done for the rest of your life because, well, Tom Hanks played you, so you're all set. And this, it's very solid. It's about an hour and a half long, which is, I think, the right amount of time for this movie.
Yeah.
It's not too long, and it revolves around the NTSB investigation into whether Captain Sullenberger and his co-pilot made the right sequence of decisions in deciding to land on the river. I felt like the drama of the NTSB was dialed up a little bit more than what felt real.
I was wondering about that because the trailer I thought was very interesting because we already know this story. We know he's a hero. We know this is a positive thing. But the trailer was trying to make it like almost like the film Flight.
Yes.
Where it was like, is he some sort of anti-hero that, I don't know, like he was under fire, but we know that that's not the outcome. So I was wondering, what's it like watching that story? I mean, are you able to get into the moment that is presenting to you already knowing how it ends up?
That's a really good question. So I think you're able to get into it because of Tom Hanks.
Right.
Because I think it's actually a really good marriage of character and actor, because everything we've seen of the real Captain Sullenberger, he seems like a decent guy.
Right.
And so he seems like a Tom Hanks character.
Right.
And so, there's just the inherent drama of, I think what makes it work is that he's defiant, but we have an insight into his own thought process where he keeps going over it again and again and again, like, did I do the right thing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that helps.
Right.
I think the problem is that, again, there's a very binary depiction of the NTSB investigators where they're like the Spanish Inquisition.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't have any experience with this at all, but that just didn't feel right to me. The idea that they'd be like, if you made a mistake, it's on you, and because you juxtapose that with the weight of what he actually accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like that wouldn't be the case. And they have Mike O'Malley. Mike O'Malley from Yes, Dear?
Yes.
He's like the head investigator guy, and he's just like total douchebag,
Right.
And
you think of the real guy. He's like, hey.
Yeah, right. Right. And what's interesting is I was reading about how the real Captain Sullenberger read the script, and he noted how it wasn't like that. It wasn't as confrontational as that.
Interesting.
And how he's like, I get that they have to do that for a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess in the original script they had the real names of the people. So he was like, can you change the names?
Jeez, well, class
and
act.
I was like, what a
class
guy.
Act.
I know.
It always makes me think of the movie Cinderella Man.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
where
right.
they turned the guy, his Russell Crowe's opponent in that movie, into like a villain, but in real life he wasn't a bad guy at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like he was a really decent guy. And you think about that and you're like, what did the story lose by make him a good guy. Make him a good guy who's a really good fighter.
Yeah, because apparently they're like, he killed a guy in the ring.
Yeah.
And that really happened in real life, but then he ended up taking care of that guy's family for like the rest of their lives.
And you think about, look at Rocky 1, right? Apollo Creed's not an asshole.
Right.
You like Apollo Creed,
Right.
It doesn't mean you don't want Rocky to win.
Yeah.
It's funny, actually, because Cinderella Man, Max Baer, you know who that is? That's the father of Jethro from Beverly Hillbillies.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Max Baer Jr. was on Beverly Hillbillies.
Interesting.
Yeah, but anyway, so Sully, anyway. So the movie, it's like it's I enjoyed it. I don't think you need to rush out to the theater to see it. I think the way it depicts the crash sequence is very well done.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally worth watching. It's funny though, because the one thing I did note is it felt like they didn't know how to end it.
Okay.
Because spoiler, so it ends essentially with Captain Sullenberger proves to the commission that, look, I did the right thing, whatever, and so the investigation is basically dropped, right?
Right.
And so they ask both of them, like, is there anything you would have done differently? And Aaron Eckhart, who plays his co-pilot, he's like, well, if I had to do it again, I'd crash in June. And then it just goes to black.
I don't get it.
like haha, because it's cold because it crashed in December.
Oh.
And literally, it's like it just needed to end on a freeze frame.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. I was like, what? That's the ending? So clearly, like, they just ran out. Like, they just stopped caring at some point. Like, it's funny, whatever. You know, it's Clint Eastwood's old. He's like, look, man, I don't have a lot of time left.
He's like, it's funny. We'll leave it there.
I was going to say no to Clint Eastwood, right? But it was really, like, it was jarring because it was like...
That's really funny.
Like, he says it, and people kind of laugh, and then it fades to black. I'm like, you can't end it that way, you know? But another true life story that I saw that just came out, and this is Snowden. This is all about, like, one name, real people.
Yeah, you're right.
So this is the new film by Oliver Stone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shocked, I tell you, that Oliver Stone has made a movie that is lionizing Edward Snowden. So this movie I'm a little bit more conflicted on.
Okay.
And I think part of it is because... So it stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Edward Snowden. I'm assuming you know who Edward Snowden is.
I'm familiar with him.
Of course you do. You saw Citizen 4.
Yes.
Which I'll talk about in just a second. And, you know, it's about his sort of personal history leading up to his working for the NSA and then coming into the information that the NSA is engaged in all kinds of illegal wiretapping and whatnot. And so he decides to drop this knowledge and turn himself into a fugitive for the sake of that.
Right.
And so, like I said, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, JGL, Jiggles, as I call him. Plays Edward Snowden. Shailene Woodley is his girlfriend. And a lot of, actually, a pretty good cast. Melissa Leo's in there. Zachary Quinto plays Glenn Greenwald, who, if you've ever seen Glenn Greenwald, who's a journalist, that's like perfect casting. Tom Wilkinson and Rhys Ifans, the lizard, is in there. Oh, and Nicolas Cage, as Nicolas Cage.
Oh, seriously?
Well, he's not as Nicolas Cage, but he's kind of playing the Nicolas Cage archetypal character.
Right.
Yeah, he kind of wandered in. It's actually kind of distracting because he's so Nicolas Cagey.
Right. It's like, all the information's out there.
That's basically, you're not wrong. Yeah, I know you're joking, but that's basically it.
Really?
Yeah, so this movie, man, I don't know. A lot of people like it, a lot of people don't. It's like split down the middle at Rotten Tomatoes from what I saw. And
I heard someone online, a friend of mine, I want to say Twitter or something, she was like really surprised, like theater's empty, really shocked by this. I was like,
it's like, are you really surprised?
Yeah, I was like, really? I don't know who thought this was going to be a hit. I'm not saying that I thought whether it would be good or bad, but I did not think this would be something people would be going out in droves to.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, anyway, so tell me why you were, not so thrilled with it.
So first of all, I watched the movie, and I wouldn't say I have an encyclopedic knowledge of the Edward Snowden situation. I think I'm fairly informed about it, but I had not seen Citizen 4.
Okay, which I have.
Which you had. Yeah. So after watching Snowden, I watched Citizen 4.
Right.
And what I came away with, honestly, was like, if you want to know about this story, watch the documentary.
It's so good.
It is, and not only that, I think it focuses to a much greater degree on the ramifications of what Snowden uncovered, which I think is far more important than the story of Snowden himself. He says this in the film and in the documentary. The story's not about me. And yet they made the movie about him. Right? And I get that because I have no doubt in my mind that Oliver Stone has a lot of admiration for him. I don't think his story is particularly interesting.
So is this like a heist movie? Is this about like how he did it?
No, it isn't really. It's about, I wish it were, because I think that would be interesting too.
Yeah.
This is how he went from being a, very like a quote unquote patriotic American to being so disillusioned that he's willing to betray his country.
Okay. Because
right,
he served in the military.
Right, exactly.
Right,
All that. And, we see that reflected through his relationship with his girlfriend. The problem is that the decision to do this happened so suddenly that I needed more of a sense of what led to him making such a big leap.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, I feel like part of it is also Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's a very performance.
Sort of like his last movie, right?
Yeah, which is also the documentary is better than the movie.
Right, Man on Wire.
Yeah, that was like, his accent. Hey, it was a lot of that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This, it's like, I'm Edward Snowden.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he's doing a voice.
Yeah. But he does kind of sound like him. But it's unnatural.
If you listen to Edward Snowden, his voice is not particularly affected.
Sure.
He has a way of talking, but it sounds normal.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's distracting to hear, like you say, it's a performance.
Right. It's distracting to somebody trying to do that. And I don't know what the solution is. I would have said just talk normally.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I mean? I think that was a choice that if I was Stone, I would be like, you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Because to me, it did take me out of it. Because he looks enough like him that would have been enough.
Right.
And basically, I think that in lionizing the person, Stone looks past the much more serious issue about what actually is going on, and that what Snowden uncovered has not stopped.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost the worst thing is that Snowden has been, he's like living in Russia now and whatever, but like there was no outcry really. It doesn't feel like it.
What do you mean?
In terms of his whole thing was like, I need to put this out there. I need it to be part of the conversation.
Yes.
And let people make. Well, it's like people did make up their minds and they don't care.
Right.
At least that's what it feels like.
Is that portrayed?
No, because the film ends with him. He's speaking to a crowd via like telepresence,
mm-hmm.
and it's the real Snowden.
Right.
And he's like the role of information and whatever, he says whatever, which I don't disagree with, by the way, just to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ends like over the credits, we see headlines of like, NSA oversight this, and now there's going to be this, and they're ending this program, whatever. But nothing's changed.
And that's probably the narrative that Stone doesn't want to play up, right? Like he wants.
But if you're Oliver effing Stone, don't you want that out there? The fact that this is still happening.
I see what you're saying. I was gonna say you wouldn't want him to make it seem like that no one cared and life's gonna go on and this didn't matter, I guess is what he wouldn't want to do. But I see what you're saying. It should be more like, aren't you outraged? Like, why aren't you more outraged? It seems like what he would do.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So that was anyway. That was my sort of that's my reaction to that. I would say like Netflix, absolutely check it out.
Uh-huh.
But if you know nothing about this situation, watch Citizen 4.
Yeah.
Because that will give you a sense. And the film is about the filming of Citizen 4.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So we have the Laura, the documentarian, I forget her name, but she's played by Melissa Leo, and she is filming him. And there's, it's about, like, it's really weird. So, like, I remember in Citizen 4 you were talking about, when you discussed Citizen 4, how there's the scene where Edward Snowden is watching the release, like on the news,
mm-hmm.
the cover. So now we have the movie of the movie where he's watching this,
Right. And there's just something so interesting watching the real guy. And like we know this moment, and there's something so cool about seeing him experience that moment.
Right.
Yeah. And then remember there's like the phone rings and he's like, yeah. And it's real. Like his fear is real and in that moment, and it's something to see it captured.
See, so that's my point, because that's all dramatized in the movie.
Right.
And it's like, just watch the documentary. Like I don't see a reason for this movie existing.
Right.
Other than, people haven't seen the documentary.
Right.
But it's kind of the same thing with The Walk, right?
Right.
The Walk at least had that 3D IMAX aspect to it.
Which is the only real reason to watch that movmovie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Because otherwise just watch the documentary.
Yeah.
Or don't, because I think the guy's an idiot.
I know. It seems like we are of the minority that really wasn't that taken with that documentary.
Not even a little bit, yeah.
So funny.
Anyway, moving on, we also have a new release, and this is not out yet, but by the time you're listening to this, it will be. The Magnificent Seven, Antoine Fuqua's re-teaming with Denzel Washington. This also stars Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke, Vincent D'Onofrio. Who else is in this? Bunch of people. Byung-Hun Lee from the G.I. Joe movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked it. However, it's as predictable as it gets.
Okay.
It's an entirely boilerplate. This is it's not new and stunning and revolutionary, but for what it is, I had a good time.
Okay.
Yeah. It's I mean, technically it's a remake of The Magnificent Seven, the original one from the 60s, John Sturges, Yul Brynner, but it basically, other than the basic premise, is a different movie entirely.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lot of fun, you know. Again, I'm hedging what I'm saying, but I mean, it's like, you know what you're gonna get with this kind of movie.
I know this is going to sound contradictory, but like, I don't mind a predictable film as long as it feels fresh.
Yes.
If that makes sense. Like, I know how this is going to end, but at the same time, as long as it has me while it's happening, then then I'm game.
Like, this is one of those movies where you have the 7,
mm-hmm.
and then you kind of start doing the math in your head. You're like, who's going to live, who's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to see whether you're right or you're wrong.
Right.
You know, it's that kind. And obviously we get to see Denzel Washington just be a badass, which is always fun.
Yeah.
Never seen him in a Western, and he's awesome in this.
Yeah.
You know?
I love Westerns.
And, yeah, you know, I mean, I think it's just, it's just one of those things where don't expect the sun and the moon, but I think it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
This is the last score, by the way, by James Horner.
Right.
We talked about how before he passed away, he was so enthused by the script that he wrote the music and sent it off to Antoine Fuqua, and then he passed away shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. But so little piece of history there.
How
And
is
yes,
it,
the Magnificent Seven music, the theme does appear in this. The famous theme by Elmer Bernstein.
Is the score good?
I liked it. I would have liked more of the Bernstein music, to be honest.
Right, of course.
I mean, this isn't a spoiler. That doesn't really come in until the end credits.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fine. You know, it's very similar to like his Zorro music.
Okay.
You know, and we knew James Horner would kind of reuse certain orchestration and motifs, so there is that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's a fun post-summer movie, is what I would say.
Great.
Yeah. And I think, Brian, that wraps up our discussion for this episode.
Hey, I had fun.
Crazy. Wow, we just blazed through.
Yeah. This is weird because normally I'm half asleep.
Yeah.
And, well, not half asleep.
See, folks, now, you know, when you listen to the show, the back third is basically the last half hour of Saturday Night Live, where...
Right.
We're just powering through it. Brian's just grunting monosyllabically.
Yeah. Well, and then we sign off. We always have a good time. We sign off, and then I drop to my bed.
Yes.
So
now you're going to go to sleep out of habit, but you'll actually miss work as a result.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to go straight to work, and I'm going to literally deliver the Bob's season premiere to Fox.
There you go, folks. So when you're watching that this weekend, say a little thank you to Brian, because it's happening because of him.
Yeah.
There would be no show without Brian.
Along with a bunch of other people.
No, only Brian. Brian's too modest. No, of course. This is, as always, it is a pleasure. Is there anything you want to hype up in addition to the Bob's Burgers season premiere?
Well, yes. Bob's Burgers season premiere, September 25th, 7:30 Pacific in Eastern. And also the current Bob's Burgers comic book that is out in stores now, issue 15, is written by me. And it's typically there's 3 stories with 3 different authors, but this one is just one story that was written by yours truly. And I'm really proud of it. And Maggie Harbaugh did the art, and I love it. And I think it's a lot of fun. So if people like the show or they just want to pick up something that's really light, fun, 5-minute kind of reading, say go check it out.
Well, there we go. And as for me, you can find me at my website, zakiscorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's also my Twitter handle. That's also my Instagram, which I've been using a lot of lately, thanks to Brian for sort of getting me into that.
Yeah, it's fun, right?
It is fun. So if you want to follow me on either of those, that's where I'm at. You can also find me at Huffington Post, where my movie reviews go up regularly, as does this show, as does the Nostalgia Theater show. New Nostalgia Theater dropping next week, by the way, will be my interview with Brandon Braga, the creator of Star Trek Enterprise. And we spent an hour talking about that show. And that was, I have to admit, when I first started planning the Nostalgia Theater show, and I sort of drew up my list of like pie in the sky people, very near the top was Brandon Braga. I was just like, I really want to talk to him. And so that was a dream come true.
That's great.
Yeah, so can't wait to share that. And the most recent episode, this is Star Trek month at Nostalgia Theater, and latest episode is a commentary track with me and Glenn Greenberg as we watch the second pilot of the original Star Trek. So do check that out. Also, over at Fandor.com, some of my reviews and features have been going up. I did a Labyrinth retro review. That movie just turned 30 years old, and so I looked back at that, having just rewatched it a couple weeks ago.
You know, I've never seen Labyrinth.
You've never ever seen Labyrinth?
No.
Well, you should log into Vudu and check that out.
Yeah.
Now that David Bowie is gone, it's a way to pay tribute to him as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have any questions or comments for us, shoot us an email, moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. Also, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast is our Facebook page. Please hit like on that. Also, go over to iTunes and hit subscribe and leave a review or a star rating. We just read a new review today, and we always appreciate that, and every little bit helps. So it doesn't take too much time, and if you could do us that solid, it would be much appreciated. With that, this is episode 103 of Movie Film, but we will be back in 2 weeks with more to talk about. So on behalf of Brian Hall, my name is Zaki Hassan. We'll catch you next time.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Enjoy the show. Zaki and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.